Good morning, it's Karen from Simply Living for Him. I am back from a little hiatus. I had traveled for a speaking trip last weekend, and it has been crazy since we've returned. And it was crazy before we left, it was crazy while we were there, but now we are back, and I wanted to share with you some lessons really that I learned from this trip. A really cool story, just how God works. And so let's see, where do I begin? I wanted to talk today about fixing our eyes on the eternal things and not of the things of this earth. And this really hit me this weekend on my trip. So I'm going to do some videos where I discuss all the things that I've learned in this past week, because there's been a lot. God has taught me a lot with our trip and everything. But I'm just going to share one of them briefly. So on my way to Nashville, I was having a lot of doubts, and I was having a lot of attacks from the enemy. And the week before, a lot of things were happening. And everything in me was saying, don't go, don't go. Like, why are you driving 14 hours? Why are you doing this in the middle of a pandemic? Why are you leaving your house? Why are you dragging your family with you? Like, all these things. And I just felt that I had prayed so much, and that even if like something bad happened, that the Lord really wanted us there. And so during one of my sessions, and this is one of the lessons I want to give you today, I talked a lot, actually in most of my sessions, I talked a lot to homeschoolers about the homeschool journey will end. And the relationship you have with your kids goes on far beyond the homeschooling journey. The relationship that your kids have with the Lord is an eternal relationship, and our relationship with the Lord is eternal. And so these things were really on my mind, that I really wanted to minister to homeschooling families, to remind them that yes, all this homeschooling stuff is important, but we need to have an eternal perspective, because this homeschooling journey, just like everything else on earth, is finite. And if you're not a homeschooler, let me say this in another way. No matter what is going on in your world today, remember that relationships last far beyond whatever the circumstance is. And most of all, your relationship with the Lord and other people's relationship with the Lord. But for instance, right now in our culture, things are crazy, and, there's a lot of division. People are getting in arguments with loved ones over politics and over the different things going on in this world. But always remember that your relationship with that person goes far beyond the circumstances of the day or of the decade or of your life, because there are certain things that will last for eternity. And so when I ministered to homeschooling families, I was trying to get them to see that this will end, but relationships go on forever. This will end, but your relationship and your kids' relationship with the Lord is something that is more important. And so whether you're a homeschooler and that applies to you, or whatever is going on in your life right now, if there's a strained relationship, if there are things that have your attention that are taking away from your walk with the Lord, remember that your walk with the Lord is forever. That's eternal. And so don't get caught up in all the things of this earth that are temporary. This morning I was looking in 2 Corinthians chapter 4, and I thought this verse is really applicable to what I wanted to share with you. So it says here, you can go and read all the way back starting in verse 8, but I'm not going to read the whole thing to you. I prefer that you guys go and get in the word on your own. But let me start reading here in verse 16. That is why we never give up. Though our bodies are dying, our spirits are being renewed every day. I'm going to stop there for a second. Every single thing on this earth, including you, is dying. There's actually a law of physics that states that every single thing that exists is always in a constant state of decay. Yet the really cool thing is our spirits, our eternal selves, are being sanctified and being made holy. So while every single thing around us, because of the law of physics, is decaying and dying, we are actually being made better. And this verse here actually says that our spirits are being renewed every day. For our present troubles are small and won't last very long. Yet they produce for us a glory that vastly outweighs them, and will last forever. This is what I'm talking about. All the things around us, while they may be difficult, while they may be hard, while they may be taking our attention away, they are not forever. Our relationship with the Lord is forever. It says, so we don't look at the troubles that we see now, rather we fix our gaze on things that cannot be seen. For the things we see now will soon be gone, but the things we cannot see will last forever. I want to share with you a little story here that I'm still processing this. So while I was going to Nashville, I was, feeling a lot of anxiety and, like I said, does this matter in the grand scheme of things, Lord? Traveling all this way in the middle of a pandemic and, just all these things that have to get done in order to go do this trip. Is it really necessary, Lord? And I kept feeling like he was like, yes, don't look at the circumstances. Look at me and do what I tell you to do. And go tell those families about me. And so that's what I did. Coming home, and we had a great weekend, and coming home I was thinking about all the people I met, and I was like, it was really great and all, but I was praying in the car, and I said, Lord, I know this sounds kind of selfish, but I was like, Lord, can you just have that one person write me an email or a message to show me why I was there? Like, a lot of times when I travel to speak, I always have that one person that I'm like, they were the reason I went on the trip. And so I was like, Lord, selfishly, I'm going to ask, is there one person out there that maybe would write me and show me that, I had a reason to be there? Within a couple hours, I got a message. I got a message on Instagram, and it was actually a quite tragic message. I won't go into all the details, but it was from a woman who had heard me speak first thing when she got there. And we actually met up in the hallway. We got to speak for a minute, connect afterwards. And that message that I gave was about this, about the homeschool journey. And if you're not a homeschooler, you can substitute whatever the thing is in your life that maybe kind of consumes you. The homeschool journey will end, but your relationship with your kids goes on forever, and their relationship with the Lord goes on forever, and your relationship with the Lord goes on forever. And so I really had driven that point home in that message, and she said that resonated with her. And shortly after, the friends she was with, they received a horrific message from home that there was a great tragedy at home and a family member had died unexpectedly, a young family member. And she said that this message spoke clearly to her, that this was bringing a comfort to them in their grief, and that's what it was all about. Like, she was literally walking it out and seeing that everything here on earth can be taken away from you in a split second. This tragedy happened and took a young girl away in a split second, but there was comfort in knowing the eternal promises of the Lord, that she had a relationship with the Lord. How wonderful that her parents had raised her up in the Lord. How wonderful that her family members and she had a good relationship. So while they were grieving, they knew that the things that truly mattered most in the end were so evident in that moment. And that can be true for any one of us at any given moment. Something can happen to take away all of our earthly troubles, all of our earthly comforts, it could take away our earthly life. And what will be left will be the things that matter for eternity. When I read that message from that woman, I couldn't believe how God had answered my prayer. I couldn't believe that he literally answered my prayer when I asked for somebody to message me and show me my purpose. But that was my purpose. And now I feel more than ever so strongly about sharing, about not fixing your eyes on what is seen, but what is unseen, about living for the eternal, not the external things of the day, about focusing on relationships, about focusing on walking with the Lord, teaching your children to walk with the Lord, sharing with others the love of Christ. These are the things that will go on for eternal. Because I know that day that this woman wrote me, that was not the only tragedy of that day. All around the world, there were other tragedies. Some people died with Christ that day and some did not. And we have the ability to help those know him, so when their time comes, they will go on forever with the Lord. And so this is a little heavy this morning, this devotional, but I really wanted to share what God is teaching me. How wonderful it is to sit out here on this beautiful spring day and to really be reminded. The buds on the trees are starting to come through, to be reminded that there is new life someday, that the darkness of winter, the darkness of life will end one day, but hope springs eternal. And that is just the message that we have for a world that is dark, a world that isn't in that eternal dark winter. We have this beautiful hope that springs forth. We have eternity with the Lord. This life feels so heavy and so difficult sometimes, but remember, it's not all there is. As I spoke to homeschooling families and I said, I know the homeschooling journey feels so big, but guess what? It ends. What matters is your relationship with your kids, your relationship with the Lord and their relationship with the Lord. So I hope that this encourages you today in some way. I hope that you understand where I'm coming from. I have a lot more things to share about my trip this weekend and some things that God's been doing in our life. I'm going to try to see, maybe I'll do a live video. Maybe I'll just record a video. We'll see. I'll be talking about it on the podcast this week as well. So you can go check that out. I hope that this video encouraged you today. And for many of you that I saw in Nashville who said these videos encourage you, hi there. It was so great to meet you. I'm so thankful that even just one person would be blessed by the words that I speak, which truly are not about me, but all about Him. So have a wonderful day. Until the next time, I wish you all the blessings and joy in Jesus today.